As I said, my name is Ilan, and I work for the last 15 years as an architect and an interior designer. I finished what we call practical architect school in the Tel Aviv University. And since then, I've been working 5 years in an office for another architect. I learned a lot about rural housing and residence and wooden frame houses. And then I opened my own practice and inquired more and learned more about roofs and building houses in the rural design. There is an interesting question for you about what is the connection between the tiles and the hips of the village woman. I give you the chance for the next 2.5 minutes to guess. But if not, I'll tell you in the end. Okay? So, I actually quite excited because it's my first time I talk about my work. I'll talk about two different houses. One is a two-story cottage in Beit Kama, which is in the south on the way to Beersheba, quite a hot area. And this is the house. It has 2 stories, about 180 square meters, and we use the second floor under the roof for living, for the rooms for the kids. And there was a demand for high isolation and the proper terms of living under the roof. So we use this kind of method of ventilating the roof and isolating the roof in a high level. This is a typical section in the house, and actually these drawings are the drawings I give to the builders to build. Otherwise, it's very easy that people will do mistakes and they don't know how to build properly, and sometimes it's better not to build than building improperly, because using the wrong way with isolation can damage the efficiency of keeping the house cool or warm. So this is the typical section, and this is more detailed section. What we can see here is the section in the roof. This is the reches. I don't know how do you say reches in English, so help me.
Ridge.
Ridge. Just a moment. Ridge. And this is the section in the gable. Okay? What we see here is actually quite similar to the section here. We need the wooden beams here. We see them. They are exposed to the people who live here. It's a design, something we use as a design also. And then we have a vapor barrier, what we call in Hebrew מחסום לחות, to prevent extra vapor to go and damage the isolation. Beneath the vapor barrier we put whatever we want. We can put gypsum boards, we can put nut feather, what we call here, this kind of wood. And then we put the isolation here. And then another sheet of board, it could be OSB or plywood. And then above it, once again, we put here another vapor barrier. We have to protect the isolation. Without protecting the isolation, we damage the roof, we damage the people who live there, and we spend much more money on cooling or heating the house. And then we put these pieces of, actually between the isolation sheets, we put, we can see it in the other section. Here, this is the section in the gable. So you can see how between the pieces of the isolation we put another beam. And it's not the beam of the roof, this is the beam of the roof. We can see the roof from here. And this is another piece of wood that is in the height of the isolation we want. And then we put another yes, this one that make the tile higher, so the air can go from down to the top without any problem and ventilate the roof. This is the ridge, and we can see here the place that the air go out. Sometimes you can use a wooden spacer or buy the original spacer to put the ridge. The ridge. Okay. And so this is the ridge. We can see here the tiles. We can see. Here we put birds barrier, so they won't go in, and only air can go in. The air go inside here and go to the top and come out here. You can see it on the sample. Of course, we can use for more design. We can use some pipes if we need to ventilate the installation or of the house or other stuff. And we can use the side tiles, as you see here. It's more a matter of design.
Excuse me. We're not trying to trap as much wind as possible from all sides, because when I see this element last time talking about it, it seems like maybe it's a design element, but it's not answering the wind flow.
No, the wind flow must come from down to the top. We cannot allow wind come from the side, because otherwise we let also rain go in there, and we don't want it. The more economic or usual way to use here, when people don't have the money to pay for they just put a sheet of metal, a piece of metal, to make a connection between the wood and the tile. This is more expensive, but this is much more beautiful and more harmonic. We can see now the times I've been there in the site. I could take some photos while building the house. Okay, so first we put the beams. You can see here, this guy is the one who built this house, this roof, Bobby. We add beams, and these beams are, you can see them in the house itself. Here you can see the wood beneath the beams. And here you can see the workers work on the big beam and the other primary and the other beams. This is the roof beneath, and of course we can paint it or do whatever we want with the design. Of course, the Israeli solar panels. Actually, we create a kind of tube that goes from down to the top, and fresh air comes from the top, the bottom, and get out here. And this way we ventilate the roof and prevent heat to gather there. Here, you can see it better here.
And what about the indoor comfort and the energy consumption?
It's amazingly, they are so happy with the house, the family, the kids are living there, and they have a 1-year-old kid and 12 years old, and they're very happy with the house, and they live under the roof, as you saw on the section. And they moved only a month ago to the house, and they were quite happy. I'm expecting to see how the summer will be.
What insulation do you use, and what is the vapor barrier at the bottom of the top?
Okay, this is a good question, because look, in the total sum of things you have to pay. You know, it's a matter of money, and it's a matter of if you find the right constructor. And this is a question I talked with Giovanni before. There are some special vapor barriers like Tyvek or Primo that are specially for this kind of vapor barrier. Sometimes you can see that the top is the right one. They put the Tyvek or the other, and sometimes you can see that beneath the one in beneath the isolation is just a nylon sheet. It also do the work, but as I've been told by Giovanni, it's better to put both sides a special vapor barrier. It breathes out and prevents moisture to gather inside the isolation. Once you have moisture in the isolation, it's a no-no. It's a very bad situation. And some of us probably went into old houses and saw kinds of rats and stuff living there, as you know.
And what is the insulation?
Insulation, look, as I search more, I hear more and more ideas. You can use rock wool, you can use glass wool, you can use, I use sometimes styrofoam. I don't want to, it's kind of argument between the manufacturers and between the, I don't want to go there.
What did you put in this one?
In this one I used styrofoam F30, 10 centimeters, because I wanted to cover no humidity there. There were kids living under there, and I wanted to cover, and they put it in the exact cut between the, so I think I covered everything there.
I see you didn't put insulation in the walls, only on the roof.
In the walls.
There's none in the walls, I didn't see. In your photographs?
No. On the walls, we used the walls pumice bricks. Okay. If you give me some time, I talk about also the walls. I have more examples. Okay, as you see, this is the rooms of the kids here. You see, they live under the roof. The other house is a one-story house in Kfar about 200 square meters. Beneath the roof, we use it only for systems like air conditioning, electricity, piping and stuff. So we didn't need all this thick layer of isolation. We only used the ventilated roof. Of course, the angle of the roof is much lower. We don't need the space that is created there. This is the detail. You see, I didn't use all the layers of the isolation here. I used polynom, which is aluminum sheet, and the ventilated roof. Okay. Now about isolating the wall. When I have the concrete, okay, remember this place. I'll show it on the photo. I cover it with a special isolation. Everywhere I have columns or beams made of concrete, I covered it with a special isolation, and I made a kind of design for the house. I'll show it in a minute. Here we can see the place that the air go in and go above. Once again, here I use the need for isolating the concrete beams and posts, and I make kind of design out of it. Okay?
What did you do? Calca?
No, there is a special. I use a 3 cm special calca for this. It comes from styrofoam. It's a dense styrofoam, and it comes with a special covering, so the stucco will glue to it, will stay on it. Okay. Okay, we can see the workers here. Here we can see the beam that I used here instead of this one. Okay? Above this wooden beam, we put the ridge tiles. This roof, because we don't live there, but still there is a lot of heat gathered beneath the roof because we didn't use extra isolation, and anyhow we used the roof only for systems. To take out the extra heat that is gathered beneath the roof, we use ventilation systems like what you see here. So that's for this system. Because I was working 5 years in an office that was specialized with wooden frame houses, I also use combination of this special roof and using extra isolated houses by building with wood. And I'll show you briefly some houses. Usually in Israel, when you talk about the wooden houses, people think about a house that is all covered with wood. And it's not true. Because, for example, this house is a wooden house, but it's covered with stucco. And anyhow, because I use wood and I want to show the wood, I use it indoor. Okay? So you can use the wood to show it indoor. And this is a wooden house that is covered with bricks. And with this system of using a ventilating roof and, for example, a wooden house that you put isolation between the beams, you get, maybe for my opinion, the best isolated house. Here, some more photos. And of course I use the wood as a design element. Thank you. Indoor. Of course, nowadays we use modern and contemporary design, but anyhow we can also use, like for example, this house is a lot of electricity. The lighting is LED lighting, so we save a lot of money on energy. Here you can see this ventilator that take out the extra hot air from the roof out and save money for ventilation, for air conditioning. This is the typical section for a wooden house. We have isolation in the first ceiling, and then we have this ventilated roof, and the walls are also isolated because we use wood, and in between the wood we put extra isolation. Thank you.